if the Nigerian government now does not get on top of this situation of what's taking place in Nigeria, and has been now for a number of years, if they don't get on top of it and start protecting their people, particularly the Christian community and the moderate Muslim communities that are being attacked, if they don't stop this, this is going to lead to broader bloodshed throughout Nigeria and probably a splitting up of the country.
It's not today the Americans make statements like that. We don't support it. I don't support the splitting of this country. I'm a big believer in one Nigeria. Yeah. But the question is, with one Nigeria, what's the proposition? Let's have the conversation. A proposition where people are being killed based on their tribe. A proposition where there's genocide happening. A lot of Christians are being killed. I know people like to frame the argument and say, oh, they are bandit activities, they are this and all of that. But in areas of Benue, it's actually a genocide because they are killed specifically because they are Christians. So there's an intent issue. Although the other part will also say, oh, they were reprisals, they also killed us in return and all of that. But there's a genocide going on, which we cannot deny. So the question is, the proposition for one Nigeria has to be built on justice, a clear sense of equity, and a clear sense of fairness. But when you don't have that, people will feel disgruntled. And that's why people will say all sorts of things and talk about splitting and everything. Because heck yeah, it is a miracle that the country is still surviving. Because of the level of unfairness.
Ambassador Brownback, who is a former ambassador for the U.S. on international religious freedom. He too should be enlightened enough to know that as an ambassador, you don't interfere in the sovereign domestic internal affairs of another country. So he crossed the line there. And then again, he also demonstrated this typical American Western ignorance of thinking that Nigeria is divided neatly into North and South. And that this religious freedom issue is between North and South. Yeah. Whereas those of us who live here in Nigeria are aware, understand that there's no such binary within this environment. Yes. There are security challenges. Yes. Okay, maybe it's a suggestion that is making that if government does not do what it needs to do, then maybe it will lead to a situation whereby the violence will spread for that and can lead to the conflict can lead to the dissolution of Nigeria. Well, that advice, all of us will say so, that government needs to do more. But dissolution of Nigeria is not on the table. There is nobody who will be president of this country who will agree that Nigeria should split under his watch. That is why Section 2, Sub 1 of the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria says Nigeria is one indissoluble, indivisible sovereign entity. Correct. So dissolving Nigeria is not on the table. It's not part of the discussion.
On the table. Senator Brownback needs to perish that thought. It is no deal in that aspect.
In-depth analysis.